Sure. Well, let me start by saying how impressed I am with the sophistication of your analyses on all of these. I work with a lot of people in high-level decision-making positions, and they weigh exactly the kinds of things that you all were weighing so thoughtfully. So I really appreciate you letting us into this process, and I hope that it helped underscore for you how challenging these decisions can be. Did you guys feel like, were there strong agreements, strong disagreements? Yeah, Elliot.
I feel like we pretty much had strong agreements, and none of our no pro versus pro, none of those decisions changed. Once we read more information, there was a higher or lower number.
Interesting. Did other people feel like getting the additional information tended to make you feel more sympathetic or less sympathetic? Yeah.
I think that, for certain cases it was more sympathetic, and then for others it was less, specifically case number 3. Just there was a factor that we kind of talked about. He was a family of 5, I think, and he grew up with 4 women, and yet he still committed these 2 heinous acts against them. So it was if you grow up in a family where you have those kinds of people around you all the time, you think that they would have more respect and sympathy for an entire gender of people. So, it made us a lot less, at least for me, and I think for most of my group, it made us a lot less sympathetic towards his plight and a situation that he was in.
Did anyone feel like it was easier to make a decision when you just had the first set of information? Everyone felt like you wanted the additional information that you got. So can I see a show of hands of which group allowed Richard, the man who had killed the police officer, who granted him parole? Basically everyone, huh? And which groups granted parole to the gentleman who... Stephen with the long record and the home burglary? About half? And those of you who didn't give him parole, what was your rationale? Yeah.
He was a repeat offender, and he had already been on parole twice, and I think he violated something else. I forgot what it was specifically, but 17 times. So he felt
19 previous convictions.
We thought that he
2 parole violations.
Yes.
19.
We thought it was more of the system failing him because we recognized that he had an addiction, and we thought that the prisons that he was in should have done more to help him with that, but he wasn't ready for parole.
And yes, ma'am.
Oh, we never know.
Yeah.
My group talked about was how maybe the parole was just a general thing you give anyone, and so we thought that it should kind of be shaped for him because it obviously didn't work the first 2 times. So maybe we thought that he still deserved parole, just more shaped for him so that way he can.
He needed a lot of support when he came back to the community to try to help him succeed. Yeah.
We rationale that he was serving a 3 to 6 year sentence and he already served 3 years, and we talked about how he was a substance abuser, and it's easier to take a substance in prison, or there are some people do get access to drugs and alcohol in prison, but it's much easier, and we kind of fear that releasing him into not a completely restricted environment would have had him he would have relapsed, and we thought that it may have been better for him to serve the last 3 years, and because then he would have had a longer time without with being sober, so then it would be easier for him once he was released to maintain his sobriety and probably become a functioning member of society after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, our group didn't grant him parole, but we did want to focus on making it a more rehabilitative process versus punitive. So we said parole, but we would recommend other programs for sobriety, for better behavior. So it's parole, but with more. I think parole seems like a very concrete idea that we didn't want it to be, and to ensure that at the end of the day he would be granted parole the next time based on those programs and a history of better behavior.
Great. Let me see a show of hands as to who granted parole for the man who committed the rape.
Jake Jones.
Nobody.
Were you going to add something to the earlier one?
Me?
Oh, no, in front of you.
Oh, we were just, in our group, we discussed that we think that
Stephen Pena clearly had an addiction problem, and we thought that if he was to go on parole, he needed strict restrictions, especially considering the fact that he violated parole 2 times in the past. So we would refer him to a rehabilitation facility and then give him time, because he also has acquired a plumbing certificate, and given his theft, he's stolen things in the past, so that has already helped with that. And so after he gets out of rehab, he can go work for plumbing.
How did that relate to your decision on Jake Jones, who committed the rape?
Well, we think that, so when we were discussing the backgrounds of Stephen Pena and Jake Jones, they were very different, because Stephen Pena grew up in a foster care system, and so that definitely gave us a lot more sympathy for him. Jake Jones, there wasn't really any room for sympathy besides the fact that he had a second grade reading level, but he went through high school through junior year, so we were a little bit confused. Also, it says that he wrote apology letters to the woman he raped, but he does not know how to write, so we were a little bit confused about that. And second graders know how to write.
You could write.
No.
So the case says. But he was also 25, right?
Yeah. Well, Julia?
Can we all listen to Julia?
It did raise a question of whether he struggled with mental illness and he maybe wasn't totally in control of his actions or totally knew right from wrong. And I know that there is a big problem with people who do have special needs being prosecuted as if they don't. And it was never specifically mentioned, but with some of the information, he was in high school, he had a second grade reading level, and he's seemed to come across very differently to people in the prison and to what he did outside. It was something to consider, I think.
And last comment.
Just going off of that, with rape specifically, I think that we tend to try to make excuses for people and try to make it seem like there is something going on with them, when in reality, rape is a power thing. And it's basically you are trying to gain control over another person by inflicting pain on them. And so I think that, yes, it's important to think about the fact that there could be mental issues, but we also need to factor in that it is a power thing. He's trying to gain control over these women by assaulting them.
Okay, actual last comment.
I think to echo something Vivian said, and also Elliot brought up this point when we were having our discussion, it said that he had found God, and that he had completely he'd been non-aggressive in prison, and we were all thinking about how the reason he hasn't is Vivian said raping someone is a power, it's you do it to feel powerful over another human being, and he's probably his violence is probably sexually driven, and especially if he identifies as straight and he's in a male prison, of course he's not going to be violent or aggressive, because he's not sexually stimulated by anybody around him, so why would he be aggressive if the root of his violence towards others is because of sexual or feelings of sexual desire towards somebody else, but having that not reciprocated by somebody, and then feeling you need to attack them to fulfill whatever desire you have. It's there's no in our heads it was no wonder he's not being violent. It's he's not in a sexual environment where he could he feels the urge to be violent towards another person through sexual aggression.
So these are incredibly complicated questions, and you did a really sophisticated job with complicated analysis. And you were operating in a limited world, right, where you had a sort of decision of yes or no based on a very limited amount of information. And I want to encourage you, as you go out into the world and continue to think about these problems, imagine that we don't have to be constrained by yes or no, parole or not. I mean, imagine some of the principles that you outlined. What is serving the person who's victimized? What's the social contract? What are our values? What actually functions as a deterrent? And when you enter the workforce, if you decide to commit to social justice and criminal justice, think about the world of possibility, about the international models. Think about the possibilities for restorative justice, what actually works. Because we are limited at this moment to yes-no decisions, and it is a set of parameters that we know doesn't work to make us safer. So the world is yours and ours, and we get to build it together. So I want to encourage you to work within systems when you have to, exercise compassion, learn and participate, and gather information. And I like how you all jumped right into the exercise and sort of operated with what you had. But as you are thinking about these problems, go big picture and think about what is possible, because we really are, I think, on the cusp of something drastically different and hopefully far better in the future. Want to add some thoughts?
Yes.
Dr. Jarrell, before you do, you all have cards, and there's probably many questions on your mind. Please be writing them down. We will